Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. I am your hostess, Alissa IG, the consultress, here bringing you the best conversations from the front lines of innovation, entrepreneurship, and what's going on here in this age of disruption. Let's think about what's new in this age of new normal, because nothing's normal. Let's just admit it, including my guest here, who is a longtime friend of mine and business cohort and collaborator, Kristen Martino. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
Thank you so much, my dear. Happy
Yeah.
to be here. Happy to be
Yeah,
here.
she's all prim and proper right now, but we're going to get into this because this one bodacious babe who has helped me out, helped me buy my first home, and also was one of the clients that helped to reopen my eyes around some of the value that I was leaving behind. And I just am super grateful for you, to know you, but also to be part of your growth journey as you've been part of mine too. So I want to start with, Kristen, you're in an old school business. We met once upon a time at a business networking week to week and became fast friends. Tell me a little bit about what your business is.
So I'm an insurance agent, and I have been doing this now my entire adult life. So it's 20 plus years that I've been licensed and in the industry, and I've watched it evolve over time. But 60-70% of our business is basically a male, pale, stale environment. And so, women are usually the back end of that. We're handling the policies and the customer service and the front end and the front office. But I opened my agency. It's going on. Oh my goodness, it's good. Is it 8 years? I'm looking at the year. It was 2016 when I sold my first policy. So yeah, it'll be 8 years this summer. And I mean, it's been a great journey. It's been a challenging journey. We're over the hump, which has been nice. But at the end of the day, yeah, you know, it's 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 a difficult environment to be in as a woman in the industry trying to own her business and kind of be up here with with some of the other people we're collaborating with. So I was just at a convention in the fall, on a national convention with ladies of this insurance group that we're in. And it was a real eye-opening experience to some of the challenges that I may have faced. But my challenges weren't the same as others. I'm an outgoing person. I don't seem to, I don't shy back from too much. I'll talk to
No,
whoever, I'll step right up where I need to. But being on that panel with a few other women and some of the things that they either changed about themselves to succeed or things that they were told that they wouldn't succeed because of, and to really kind of collaborate with them was pretty interesting. So, really just learning a lot about women's journeys and then the connections that we have to build either with each other or with our male counterparts, because they're not going away. That's okay. Like, we just need to be in it together and figure out who fits best, with helping each other out and what energies and where we strive and work from there. So
yeah. And we are in the age of divine partnership. There was this age of masculinity and then this swoop swing over into like femme for femme and only femme. And now we
look.
get to renegotiate what that partnership and what collaboration really means. I loved what you said about people in your industry, women specifically, being behind the scenes, being the administrative assistants, being the customer service agents, not necessarily on the front end on the sales or on the solution side. But as we know, we bring a lot to the table and we kind of look at our businesses more holistically. Like Alpha, I know for you, is an acronym for all of the different types of insurances that you are able to offer. But my personal background coming from finances, how do I bring me as a feminine woman and not having to go and get all masculine to be in the industry of finance or to be in the real estate industry? It is a different way of living when you look at it in terms of a collaboration and a partnership than like a push pull, like a tug, that tug of war
Yeah.
that old school business kind of makes us feel like is present in every business transaction. It's not necessarily true, right? Old school business and old school sales is like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm going to leave with what I want and take the spoils and leave the customer unsatisfied. Like, no, that's not how women operate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting because I've always, I mean, I grew up with a bunch of boys and not a whole lot of females. So in my neighborhood, like I just always, I was the tree climber. I was this and that. So I always felt like I have, I mean, I know that I have more of like a masculine energy than like a female energy. And so the way I tackle things is definitely a little different. It's a little more aggressive in a sense. And it's odd because as time goes on, I start thinking about like these old school ways of doing things, old school ways of doing business, old school, positions and roles that we play. But like when I think of old school, I think of the 50s and the 60s. Like that's, you know, that's 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago in some of these circumstances. Like we've evolved, we've changed. And I think a younger generation does come in and they don't see that old school way, or whether they don't want to, or they don't see it because it doesn't exist in certain environments and fields. And I think that's great. But at the end of the day, it's less about the role and it's more about who is best at what, and you being, you excelling for who you are and what you do well at. And after that panel that we spoke at, we definitely had women that came back to us and said a lot of great things. And I was actually surprised by the amount of men that came over, and just, the men that came over and kind of opened up a bit, and some were sensitive about it and some were, I can't believe that it's interpreted this way when I do this or when I say that. I definitely have said that. I've definitely done that. I never would have felt that it would make you think that way, feel that way, and whatnot. Some of them said, wow, I didn't really think I was gonna hire, let's say, a female. I now want to make sure that I have more females in my office because I act like this and I want to counter that, or just to pull them up as a strength. So not as another customer service role, or a partner to be with. So yeah, it's interesting. And we're in a time too with like the evolution of business, so talk about the old school, that's old school roles, male versus female in this industry. But even the way of doing business, doing business now, it's AI, it's technology, it's been work at home for the past 4 or 5 years. So we can do these Zoom calls, and there's a lot of connection that's broken. When you're home alone and you're just either speaking to people on the phone or by email, we lose a lot of the connection, that personal connection we have with clients. And I think that's something that we always need to be cognizant of and make sure that we are finding a way to connect with our clients. We're finding a way to connect with our peers. We're finding a way to make those things happen so that the new way of doing business isn't just a cold environment. It is still this, connection filled way of making people feel good about, who they're working with.
I I totally resonate with that. Connection first. And, isn't it interesting now that we are in a hybrid environment where we have go in person and meet people, like you and I have shared many, many, many hugs, high fives, and, hip bumps. But there's also a way to create this connection now using all the tools that we have at our disposal. For
Hmm.
example, I host masterminds because I find that going out there and meeting people is great. Like you had mentioned before we got on for the recording here, that going to networking events and grabbing a bunch of business cards used to be what you do. Now you go to a Zoom meeting and you're like, all right, I'm going to send everybody in this room a LinkedIn connection request. Okay. And it's like it can be very devoid of actual connection because it feels like you're just trying to grab at the flying money, right? But
Yeah,
in this new age of doing business, not like in the transgression, no, sorry, no, in the transformation of
there you
business
go.
between old school and new age, part of that is the primary focus on connection. So if you're in insurance and I'm in insurance, it doesn't mean that we're going to serve the same person and we're in competition with each other. We're actually in a new age of business where when you feel connected with someone or being able to promote that connection with someone as a primary function, it opens the door for your relationship and your business model to expand and expand well. So now we see our sales as a function of love rather than sales as a function of aggression. We're looking to serve people and find out what their needs are through the connection first. And then if I can help you, great. If I can't, or find somebody who can, that's great too. But I feel like the new mantra in the business world is more about, connect first, like you were saying, having that connection, everything else comes after that. And I think that is perhaps a feminine way of doing things, but it also shows up in our marriages, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk about what there is. What are the issues for you and what are the issues for me? And let's find a place to meet in the middle. Like not all things have to be considered as like being knocked over the head and drug out, right? That's
Yeah.
old school, old caveman ways of being.
We're evolving. We are evolving. And that's something where like most of my closest friends now are insurance agents that live throughout the country. You know, you used to be, you don't kind of leave, you don't really leave. Your circle is local, you know, so to speak. And now that circle is global. And do you stay within your industry or do you branch outside your industry with people you share those relationships with? And some of my closest friends are across the country, male, female, doesn't matter, but we help each other with how our businesses are performing in a sense. And I find that, well, what I want to get at is that I found my connections with my clients were a lot more disconnected when I was struggling with the operations of my business and I was trying to do things in a manual way. And I was trying to make sure, okay, I would have to have my paper folders or do this or do that and take my notes here. And I would talk to people about how they operate. And they're like, oh, just use this particular software. Or, oh, try this. It'll make life quicker. Or, hey, when you're doing this, hit record and it'll transcribe what you're saying out loud. And then you can just edit your notes. And you don't have to retranscribe that note by typing it later on and waste more time. And it's just interesting because by changing those processes that were brainstormed with other people or recommended by other people, it has evolved my business in a sense that there is a lot more AI and a lot more technology, which you would think would make it feel a little colder and disconnected. But because it's taken the processes off my plate and away from me, and it's going to a service that, it's there, it's automated, it's software we're already using, and I'm just not using it to the best of its ability because I didn't know that it was capable of that.
Right.
It frees up that time for me to spend more time on the phone with people and build a bigger connection and get back to them quicker. And you'd be surprised at how many people that when I talk to them, I have a training background. So when I started in sales, I was taught how to sell insurance, but I was also taught, I worked as a trainer. So I was then taught how to teach new people that have no insurance knowledge. And so I bring that educating aspect with me. And I always try to give people little tidbits of information when I'm talking to them, especially about insurance. And I'd say like the 30 to 40-year-olds that I talk to that are buying houses, married, kids, and whatnot, I'll go over a small little blurb like, did you know that this coverage means this? And have you ever had to deal with this? And this is what this means in case you didn't know, and little things like that. Majority of them are like, thank you so much for taking the time to let me know that. I had no idea. I bought this policy and didn't know, or I've always bought this and nobody's told me. Well, maybe they bought it from an agent and didn't tell them. Maybe they just went on a website and filled something out and they didn't know and they just bought what they thought they had to have and that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Or what they was told to get. But now this combination of an old school, a new school way of operating a business allows me to kind of merge in that old school way of speaking and connecting and spending time with people to then, kind of meld those worlds. I think we are coming to an impasse of finding that balance between both.
Yeah, and where they intersect, I find that, what's old is new and what's new is
Mhm.
old. In the very ways you're describing, it used to be very relationship driven before the technological boom, and then everything became automation, and it takes me 14 hours to get a customer service rep on the phone because I have to press all these numbers and I'm not sure I'm even pressing the right ones. So it went a long way to disconnect people from each other. And now that
Yeah.
we have all of this technology that can help us harvest our time back and give the mundane tasks to the technology, it's
Yeah.
becoming more and more prevalent that business is coming back to being connected as a primary. Remember
Yeah.
the back in the day when deals were done on handshakes? The reason why they were able to be done on handshakes was because there was a relationship of deep trust. And
Yes.
that's what we're getting back to by using some of these tools, if I'm hearing you right. You
Yeah,
know,
and I think people have felt that distrust because there's lack of that relationship and lack of that, but there's also that concern for job replacement. You want to make sure that you're not just automating your entire business and then I don't need to hire two people because of it. No, I've actually hired faster. Bringing in technology has actually helped kind of flow our processes a little bit. and you still need a human to monitor some of this stuff. I mean, if you just use AI for everything, there's always going to be something wrong. There's going to be, it's going to be problems,
So
but
if you
it's
listen to one of my
allowed.
previous broadcasts, I just want to mention, because this is like becoming a theme now every single week. Bob McIntosh talks about AI and how it really isn't artificial intelligence that we're using. We're using language learning models. So what
Okay.
we're talking about as AI is not actually sentient and thinking right now. It is things that help us to aggregate, collect, and sift things faster so that we can do the human stuff more and better. So
Yeah.
I love that I'm hearing your integration with that stuff and how it's helping you to be able to hire support for that high touch, personal way of being in business. Hey, and that's what makes relationships and business go at all. Like that balance of who you do business with. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So
Hmm.
focusing on that connection first and building the trust right away. That's why I hired you. And I'm gonna maybe overstate my boundaries here, but I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
why you
that's
hired me.
why I hired you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So high
Absolutely.
five. We have done it. But also like this translates into how we manage our households. This
Yeah.
translates into how we manage our marriages or our, intimate relationships. This translates into how we manage the people who allow us to feel valuable and valued. So can
Hmm.
you please, I know I'm taking our conversation here to the next level, but tell me about why you connect most with other moms and how that actually helps to feed some of the needs you have as a person and as a businesswoman.
So I found that when did we start this? We're in 2024. This will be our third year. So I guess it was 2021. It was the end of the school year in 2021. Everyone needed to get out of the house. Like we were done. We had our, our 2020 year. And it was the end of the school year. And people just like, we haven't had a chance. We haven't had a chance to see other moms. We haven't gotten together. I mean, we were cooped up this winter and it's just gone so fast. The spring has gone by so fast. And I said, well, why don't we just get together and celebrate like the last school year, the last school day of the year, last school night. So it was the Thursday night before the last day on Friday. And we got together, got a bunch, I think we had like 15 moms or so. And we got together and we just let loose and we had a great time. And it got talked about and people were like, we should do this again. We need to do something again. I got to bring my other friends next time. And it's now kind of evolved to a regular schedule of gatherings that I've put together. And so we just finished our holiday party. We had a little bit of a delay due to some conflicts in December. So we just had the party last weekend, I believe it was. It was a great time. We have a theme for that Christmas party. We go out to the vineyards and we do like a trip out to the vineyards. It started with just like a little wine tasting night at home. We've got 55 people in our group now at this point. We're not doing 55 people worth of wine tasting at my house anymore. So we're going, we went out and did a vineyard trip. So we figure we've got the last school night of the year. We got the vineyard trip at the end of the summer. We've got a Christmas party that we do. And sometime in the spring, we put some different type of event together. It was a movie night or whatever. And we get together and it's it just started as fun. Like I enjoy party planning. I enjoy hosting things. I enjoy catering and I'm an ex-bartender. So I enjoy just, the mixing of food and drinks and conversations and social and music. And that's what I love. Like that's my happy place. See the happy face? That's the happy face. And so doing that, whether it's with my spouse, whether it's with my friends, or whether it was, hey, my kids are young and I need to make a connection with other moms in the community. What better way to do it than the way I enjoy doing it? And a lot of people just kept saying, I don't have the time. I don't have the space. I don't have the energy or desire, whatever it is. They didn't want to organize it or they wouldn't, couldn't, can't. It's okay. I can all of those and I enjoy it. So it just became something I took on and, turned it into a little Facebook group and we can invite friends. And I've met so many other moms that through the moms I already knew. And so that's been really, fulfilling in terms of enjoyment, but at the same time, building relationships. I always tell anybody that's coming, we have a whole invitation and RSVP list and whatnot. And it's, if you want a business, bring it. Bring your business to the group. We had a girl at the Christmas party. She does nails. She does Color Street nails. I mean, I still have mine on from the other day. She sat there, she sold nails, she helped everybody put them on, sold a bunch of other colors. Like, that's great because ultimately she's going to grow her business from the network of people that have grown there. I will sometimes put out alpha cups or I'll sponsor things and whatnot. So, my business is being branded. They have an opportunity to brand their businesses and bring things into it. And so from a business aspect, it's great. From a relationship building aspect, it's great. From a personal aspect, it's really nice. And I've had some of the dads just been like, really, thanks for I'm thinking of one particular mom who's a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids. When is she getting out? Like, that's great. Like, and some of these ads have just said, thank you so much for having something. She never goes out, and I really am glad she got to enjoy herself. Like, that's happy to hear, whether it's from the male, the female, it doesn't matter, from anybody. It's nice to hear that I was able to do something that allowed them to do something for themselves that they wouldn't normally, you know, put together or go to or whatnot without prompting. So that's my little
Yeah.
mom's night.
And
My
you're
mom tried.
creating value. You're creating value for what you want. So you're creating value from a place of, filling your own cup. And that spills over and helps other people to fill theirs as well. So I love that, like, yeah, I have like this chocolate fountain image in my head right now of you filling your cup and then filling others' cups who fill others' cups. It's like
Oh, and
this
it just becomes a
positive.
big trickle down fountain.
That's it. And everybody puts their wine glasses in. And I had the privilege and the pleasure of attending one of those first meetups. And I gotta tell you, it was a blast. And business happens when people are having fun. So
Yeah,
going to something that is a function of, people connecting and having a party and having a good time, what we do is part of who we are. And I think
yeah.
that's one of the things that I love about you is that there's really no perceived barrier between that. You are who you are, and you are an alpha female, not just because you do auto, life,
Life.
property, health.
You got agency. We're an auto
Agency.
life property health agency. That's it. You got it.
Right on. All right, good.
I'm
But
so happy that you remembered that.
that's a great acronym, and I still have one of your pens. So like
Branding.
part of this,
Branding, baby.
and then that's it. But to me, you represent like the benevolent alpha female. Like you started talking about a little bit around like the masculine assertive energy as well as the feminine and the hosting. Like I feel like you embody that partnership that we've been talking about. And that is what brings business your way. That is what brings relationships your way, is having that like totally present and confident being of who you are in all of these different ways, because I feel like that's what it takes to be an alpha woman in today's day and age. We have to be aligned with who we are and how we show up, and you do a great job of that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it would take one to know one because I definitely would feel exactly the same about you, my love.
Oh, I'm all blushy. Can you see? I don't know if you can see it in this bright white light I've got
Oh,
on me,
look at
but
you. No, it's
anyhow,
reflecting off your shirt, though. Your nice, vibrant pink shirt today.
that's it. But that's part of why I love doing the type of business that I do, is helping people to get into that space, right? It takes
Yeah.
one to know one. And that's what I look for when I'm trying to support my clients to do bigger and better things, is like, are you bringing that alpha energy from yourself? Are you coming forward and being truly who you are? Or are you,
Faking it to
hiding
make it type
underneath?
of thing.
Yeah. Are you hiding underneath the shoulds and the what you think you got to be, or are you just showing up and being who you are? And I think that's what it really takes to be successful in the world, in life, in relationships, in business. And I'm so happy to know you. I'm really happy to hear like all of the places where you get to provide value in your insurance networks, in your mom networks, and in my life and in my network too. You are a bodacious business babe as far as I'm concerned, and I'm
Oh, thanks.
really pleased to have you here. So before we break and before we go, I'd love to have you back again. Where can people find you to learn more about your mom networking, or what else you're up to going forward in terms of supporting women in business?
At Insure with Alpha. Everything is Insure with Alpha. So you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. Our hashtag is that. My personal Facebook page is public, so we have some of our events get posted there. So yeah, by all means, find me, friend me, follow me, whatever it might be.
But don't follow her home. That's not cool. Um, well,
That's
I'm
creepy.
so glad. That's creepy. Don't do it. Oh, well, Kristen, it's a pleasure and a privilege. I look forward to collaborating with you more as the days and years go on. You are one of those bright stars in my network that I consider lucky to be a friend and a collaborator. So, cheers to you. Cheers to us.
Cheers to
And
you. And I appreciate you, my girl, 100%. I am one of the lucky ones as well. We've gotten our friendship, our business, our consulting we've done together. I appreciate all of it. So thank you for
right
having
on.
me.
So from here to infinity, this is what success looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the dream team. I record this and broadcast every single Monday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time on my YouTube channel. So come click like, subscribe, and make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss another episode of the juicy details that come out in some of these wonderful conversations. They're inspirational, motivational, and sometimes a little irreverent. So rise and shine, ladies and gents, and we will see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Adios for now.
Bye.